The short answer, no. The long answer, still no? I don't know. Hey guys, it's Cyanize here, and I wish I didn't have more negative news to share, but unfortunately, Nintendo just keeps making my job really easy. I don't know what to say. Okay, before everybody starts disliking and, commenting that I just hate Mario Kart, this game looks awesome. This game is amazing, okay? The only real problem with this game is the stain and the variable pricing and the stuff that Doug Bowser said in regards to pricing this game and the $80 that it is. The game itself, though, like, if we're just ignoring all that, we're looking into this game into a vacuum, it looks really neat. The free roam stuff looks cool, the maps look cool, the character variety is really cool. Honestly, what's not to love here? But when I say there's a stain on that game, I genuinely mean it. There is a stain on this game, and it is so hard to ignore. And I am so sorry, but I'm going to continue to bring it up. That being said, however, I still do want to talk about this direct because some things did happen within it and I feel it's worth talking about, so why not? We start the direct by seeing a couple of the courses we can expect to see in the game, and yeah, they look pretty cool. I wish there was more to add with that. Obviously the big highlight here was Toad's Factory. I mean, even the trailer made a point to highlight that. Yeah, just cool to see Toad's Factory back. It's a fan favorite from the Wii. They then show off some of the characters, and I feel horrible because I feel like a lot of this would be way more surprising if we didn't see Treehouse footage. Or heck, even the initial reveal 2 weeks ago kind of already showed off some of the characters and whatnot. So we kind of already knew about some of the weird ones like Conkdor or the cow from Moo Moo Meadows. So unfortunately, it wasn't really as surprising as before. Interestingly enough, though, they do show off the character roster again. And I think it's kind of interesting that they kind of highlight the fact that you can select different costumes of various characters on the character select screen. A lot of people have a problem with this, including myself, but it's super annoying how these costumes aren't on a sub menu for the character when you go to pick them in the character roster. They are on the same character select screen as the other main characters, if that makes sense. Now, I know in previous Mario Kart games we've had this as well with like Raccoon Mario or Pink Gold Peach, for example. It's whatever though, that's how they want to do it. That's how they want to do it. They then talk about some of the various modes you could expect to see in the game, and yeah, it's kind of obvious. You all know what a Grand Prix is, but then you have the Knockout Tour, and it's kind of like a elongated like race or whatever, where you're kind of racing to be at a certain position on the race, and if you don't make it to that certain position, you could be eliminated from the whole race. It's super cool. It's a super cool idea, and I'm kind of excited to try it out. But yeah, it basically makes it so that only a select amount of people in a race can move forward to the next like part of the race. It's kind of cool. It's kind of cool. They then talk about some of the items, and a lot of them are returning, so there isn't much to add. Interestingly enough, the feather from the battle mode is for some reason in the main race. Why not? But they also show off some ones that I think were also showed off at Treehouse. I'm not sure, but they show off the ice flower, the coin shell, Kamek, the freaking just a hammer, just a hammer bro hammer. Because why the heck not? They then talk about the costumes a bit more, and I kind of already went over it. But it's kind of annoying how, these costumes are on a whole, like, separate character page instead of just being a sub-menu for when you go to select the character. It's annoying. It's annoying. The graphic designer in me is just annoyed. He's very annoyed. I do not like it. Interestingly enough, though, they showed off some of the carts you can use in the game, and one of them is a Rob cart. Like, Rob, like the Smash character, also like the toy from the NES. That is hilarious. I think that is hilarious. Moving on, they actually didn't highlight this. I think this is probably the best part of the direct. They showed off new tricks. Apparently, you can hold the drift button and you will just jump in place. That's cool. They also show off the wall running and how that works specifically, which I think is cool. They also showed off a feature where if you mess up a jump, you can apparently rewind yourself and try to do the stunt again. I don't know if you can do this in actual races or not, but they made it a point to say that if you do use this feature, it doesn't stop the game from running. It just reverses you back in time. It doesn't actually stop the race, which I think is interesting. I think it's really cool. So if you really wanted to land that trick shot, you could. But then they also talk about the free roam mode, and unfortunately, there's not really much new here that we kind of already didn't know about. I'm gonna be real. I'm a little scared. I don't know how much mileage we're gonna get out of this mode. I'm gonna be completely honest. I just don't get it. I don't know what you can really do outside of like riding around the place. I mean, it's probably gonna be, amazing the first few times you do it, But I'm wondering, like, is there going to be much to do in this open world Mario Kart game? I don't know. I don't know. It just seems like a neat thing. It doesn't seem like something that, like, you know, it doesn't seem like something you could sell a whole Mario Kart game on. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see on that. But I'm going to be real. I'm not really sold on the free roam mode. It just seems like the type of thing where you kind of need incentive to play it. You know, instead of just be like, oh, it's just something you can play with your friends. I just wish there was a little bit of incentive to explore this world, I guess, you know, outside of the racing. Because the racing is the incentive. So when you take that out, you kind of just have a place where you can just drive around anywhere, I guess. And then, yeah, that was the Mario Kart World Direct. Oh, boy. Look, I gotta be completely honest. Before we even get into the pricing, this Direct was an absolute waste of everybody's time. Okay, you know, even if you didn't watch Treehouse, we knew the majority of the info going into it. This game is not hiding anything, all right? This game is not, you know, being discreet about anything. I thought this Direct would show off a lot more, and it did not. Not even, like, any new characters, really, at all. Nothing at all. And you know what? Hey, it's a decent overview trailer. Like, I'll give it that. The problem is that this overview trailer is being released, like, 2 months before the game even drops, so what's even the point of this? It makes me kind of worried that they kind of already revealed their whole hand with this game. Again, this is not a jab at the game itself. The game itself looks really fun. I'm kind of excited to try it out. But I'm gonna be completely honest. What in this trailer, outside of, like, I don't know, the cow, is making people want to buy this game that you can't already experience in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe? Now, I know people hate that, you know, comparison and whatnot. I know this game is doing a lot of cool and unique things compared to that game. But, you know, if I'm being honest, and we're kind of segueing into the price now here, but if I'm being honest here, compared to what they're showing off here, and comparing it to the $60 Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, even before the DLC, you know, what you're getting with that between Mario Kart World, I don't know. Dude, I don't know. Now, a YouTuber I really do enjoy, his name is Beat'emups. He's really cool. 1 million subscribers. You may or may not have heard of him before. But I was watching his most recent video on the Direct, and he made a good point about how, you know, depending on who you ask, some people will say, oh, I love Mario Kart. I completely understand why the price is the way it is. And to that perspective, yeah, that person would be completely valid. However, I'm looking at this as a non-major Mario Kart fan, right? Like, I play the games, but I don't, like, deeply analyze them. I'm kind of changing that by the fact I'm making this video, but needless to say, I'm not the biggest Mario Kart fan. So I'm going into this and I'm looking at this game, and especially comparing it to Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, especially since this is the first game we're going to get on the Nintendo Switch 2 when that launches. And I gotta be honest, after watching this Direct, after the way they're advertising it, I'm gonna be real. There is nothing going on in this game for it to be $80. The variable pricing that Doug Bowser was talking about last week, it does not apply here whatsoever. I don't understand what is going on in this game that it needs to be $80. Do they think the endless replayability of a Mario Kart game deserves to be at the highest of the high in terms of pricing? I don't know. And, you know, going back to what Beat'emup said, you know, in that same video, he also brought up Donkey Kong Bonanza. Why is that game $70? Why is this open world platformer at a lesser cost, but this Mario Kart game that's barely doing anything new going at a higher price range? It doesn't make any sense. Now, I will say I was one of the people that was kind of holding off judgment on the $80 price tag for the most part, because yeah, the Direct was coming. They did announce this Direct, and myself and a lot of people were going into this hoping that they would try to justify the price a little bit. And they didn't at all, which is very interesting because in Tears of the Kingdom, when they dropped that game and they announced the price point for it, they made a whole deal about explaining why it was the way it was. And, you know, I have my problems with Tears of the Kingdom, but in my opinion, the gameplay and the mechanics and the way you can just mess with the world, it's unlike any other game out there outside of games like Gmod. You know, to the point where I could understand why it got the $70 price tag. But Mario Kart World here? Dude, I don't know. I cannot stress this enough though. If you feel the price is perfect and you feel, you know, as a Mario Kart fan that the price point is perfect and it lives up to your expectations in that front, you are completely valid for that opinion. However, me, you know, somebody who isn't the biggest Mario Kart fan, as well as just me trying to be objective, because I want to be objective. I want to look at this as an objective, like, gamer, and especially speaking for the people who are looking into this, you know, wanting to buy games and wanting to get into Nintendo and whatnot. Why would they buy this game over Mario Kart 8 Deluxe that has way more tracks, Maybe not as much playable characters, but definitely has a lot of content to offer at $60. I mean, the only reason you'd get Mario Kart World is because all your friends are playing it, and also because it's the brand new Mario Kart game. But as far as we're concerned, right now, as of me recording this on April 18th of 2025, what does Mario Kart World offer that Mario Kart 8 Deluxe can't also provide? If not, provide in a better way. But that is my 2 cents on the subject. If you guys are curious, I do plan on buying it because, hey, I do want something to play on my Nintendo Switch 2 on the day one of launch. Also because I can't actually afford it. But I know a lot of people who aren't going to be able to afford this game and want to hold off for other games. And honestly, I do not blame those people at all. So, you know, if you're one of those people, I would probably wait, and I would probably pick up something like Street Fighter 6, honestly, if you're wanting to get a Switch 2 and you want something to play on day one, because I'm going to be real, Mario Kart World just isn't it, in my opinion. But what do you guys think on the matter? Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments below. Stay hydrated, stay cool, and I will see you all in another video. Bye-bye!